I'm going to do a video for you guys. This is probably going to be a 20-30 minute video, and it's all about everything that I've been doing wrong with SKUgrid. So I sell 80,000 items on eBay. If you don't believe me, I can show you really quick. I'm going to go to eBay and show you my account. There's about 74,000 items in stock and about 7,000 that are out of stock. So we can go here. And once this loads, then we're going to click on it. And this is just to show you guys I have a lot of items on eBay. See, 73,000 items. That's a lot of items to keep track of, guys. So I use SKUgrid to do so. 3 weeks ago, I purged my whole SKUgrid database because I needed to kind of refresh it because I was monitoring 140,000 items in SKUgrid and I only had 80. So I was paying almost double what I needed to, and I needed to go through the whole database and get rid of all the items that are no longer for sale on my eBay store. That's a separate process. Well, the reason I'm telling you this is because for the past 3 weeks, I had zero inventory management, and that showed me a lot about why this software is necessary and also how to save money using it. Because I wasn't convinced that it was necessary back before I stopped using it. Because I thought, like, you know, I'm spending like $300 a month on this software. That's a lot of money. Is it really making that big of a difference? And especially after getting rid of my items so that nothing was being monitored, even for the first week, everything was the same. It didn't make a noticeable difference. However, as time progressed, more and more items became kind of out of date, right? Because my eBay store said they were in stock when reality was that they were no longer in stock at the source. And the more time that passed since I had my inventory on SKUgrid, the more problems I started to come up with. So ultimately, the way I feel about it now is that SKUgrid is a very useful piece of software. However, if you use it wrong, it's going to cost you a lot of money. And they kind of make it seem like you got to check your items all the time. And like, you know, maybe there is something to be said about checking your items so much that you don't have out of stocks at all. But that is not my goal. I don't mind dealing with out of stocks every day as long as it's not 75% of my orders. I don't want to have that many out of stocks, but a couple is okay. And a couple repricing issues, I'm not concerned about having a sale every now and then that I lose a couple bucks. Because I get like, you know, 15 to 20 sales a day, so it adds up. What I've ultimately determined is that what I want all of my items to be checked by SKUgrid, but I want to check them only a couple times a week. I don't think that it's necessary to check them every single day multiple times, because the way SKUgrid works, it's not a monthly fee. Like, they make it seem like it's monthly, but in reality, you are buying an amount of credits and then using those credits. Your usage of those credits is what determines how much money this program costs. So, figuring out how to use your credits most efficiently can save you a lot of money, because I could easily be paying $1,000 to this software with as many items as I have. All I would need to do is have it check them every 2 hours instead of once a day. Every 2 hours is 12 times as much credit usage as what I currently do. So ultimately, what I'm going to do now moving forward is I'm going to figure out how to use the pause and start Repricer so that I can scan my eBay inventory once every couple of days. I think that that is the best solution for someone like me who has a huge store and doesn't mind getting some out of stock and repricing issues, but does want some level of security that knows, hey, at least all of my eBay items I can confidently say are in stock as of a day or two ago. Maybe they're not in stock now, but that's better than how I've been operating, where 3 weeks ago they were in stock. I have no idea what's happening now. And there were a couple days I got tons of out of stock. But anyway, I'm babbling. Now what I need to get to, now that I've talked to you guys about SKUgrid and my thoughts on it and how it felt not having it, and now that I have it again, I want to show you the mistakes that I was making while I was using it. The first mistake is the export and import CSV thing. So you can export a CSV that contains all of your SKUgrid items, and it's going to be in one file. You can look at the file in Google Sheets or Excel. If you are using Excel, there's going to be a whole part, the later part of this video, that's about what not to do in Excel, because it's very easy in Excel to corrupt your entire database so that it no longer does what you want, and uploading it would be pointless because Excel breaks the link to your eBay item if you're not careful. So I'm going to show you how to prevent that from happening. But first, let's look a little bit at the SKUgrid file. The SKUgrid CSV is really the heart of what SKUgrid is. SKUgrid is just a piece of software that looks through a file like this. This file has all of your information in it. It'll have a link to every single item in your store. It'll have a link to every single source of the item. You can see that here, the vendor URL. So those are the two main things. There's a bunch of unnecessary columns here that we're going to hide because I don't need to show them to you guys. So we're going to hide that column, and we're going to hide these columns here. And I'm just hiding these columns because you guys don't need to see them. So it's not that I'm not getting rid of them or anything. I'm just really trying to help people understand SKUgrid a little bit better. So we're going to hide this column as well, and then we're going to hide all of these. So there's only 3 columns in here that I think are legitimately important, all right? So the important columns are the vendor URL, the reference, and the reprice SKU. So the vendor URL is the place that you can buy the item online. It's your source URL. This is where SKUgrid looks at to determine if the item is in fact in stock, and also to check on the price. Very important. Second most important number in this document is this number here. If you guys don't recognize these are eBay item IDs. And this is how SKUgrid knows what item on your eBay store they need to change. So if we go to ebay.com/ITM and then enter the eBay item ID, it'll be a direct link to the item on eBay. So we can see this is being sold by me. This is the number available. This is the item. So very, very important. And then we have this reference column. The reference column has another copy of the eBay item ID. So if these item IDs ever get screwed up, you can fix them by using this column here because it contains another copy of it. And because of reasons we'll get into later, if this gets corrupt, this here tends to not get corrupt. But so now you guys understand a little bit more about the CSV file that SKUgrid looks through. This really is the heart of SKUgrid. If you can understand this file, then you'll understand how SKUgrid works. There's an important distinction here to make. I have about 80,000 items, right? And I could just export my CSV, and then it would give me all of my items in one document. This is a little bit misleading because when you are adding your items back into SKUgrid, you cannot use a document that big. It will not work. You have to break the document up into smaller file sizes. So I use 2,500 lines per file, which means 80,000 items is about 32 files. It's a lot of files. But I've gotten a system down where I understand how to import it into CSV, and I understand the problems that result in having duplicates in your SKUgrid account. And if you have a duplicate, what's going to happen is you end up paying multiple for the same amount of work. It doesn't help you in any way. It only costs more. Okay? So that being said, let's talk a little bit about what can go wrong when you're viewing this file. Because I'm viewing this in Google Sheets, and if you do that, Google Sheets isn't going to corrupt the file in any way. But keep in mind that this is exported as a CSV file. A CSV file stands for comma separated value. And if you opened a CSV file in a text editor, all it would be is a string of information and then a comma, and then a string of information and then a comma. On and on and on and on and on. There would be tons and tons and tons of information. It would just be a wall of text. When you open a CSV file in something like Google Sheets or Microsoft Excel, it's kind of reformatting the data into a table and showing it to you. But it's using the fact that a comma separates every piece of data in order to fill that table in the first place. So let's open this in Excel, and I can show you an example of why you have to be really careful in Excel. So this is one part of my SKUgrid database, okay? And if you look here, this is the column that we care about, the Reprice SKU column. So straight off the bat, you can see that it's shown to us in this weird notation. This is called scientific notation. And if you look here, it looks all weird, but then if you click on the cell and you look over here, I'll zoom in a bit, you can see that the number is still intact, okay? So if we wanted to change this really quick, we could go here and change the format of the number from scientific notation to just a regular number, right? So again, I'm going to highlight this column so that you guys can see this is the column that we're paying attention to. All right. But let me show you something that's a bit odd. Let's save this really quick. So we're going to save the file, and we're going to exit. And now we're going to open the file up again. It's back in scientific notation. Well, that's quite frustrating. So just because you change the format doesn't mean that it's actually going to change the file. At the moment, however, because when you click on this, you see the actual number, there isn't anything to worry about. Excel has not corrupted our data. However, it is very easy to accidentally corrupt your data when you're using Excel, and I'm going to show you how to do it. All you do is go to File, and then click Save As. And then here, we're going to save 1B, CSV, save. Already exists, we're going to replace it, right? So now we're going to exit out of Excel, and then we're going to open it again. And something tragic is going to have happened. So everything looks the same so far, right? But now look at these numbers. They're still in scientific notation, but let me change this for you guys so you can see the tragedy that just took place. Every single one of these item IDs is now corrupt. You can see that they all end in 0, right? They are no longer unique. These item IDs no longer point to an item on eBay. And what this means is if you upload this file to your SKUgrid database, it's going to upload fine, and SKUgrid is going to be able to look at the source URL perfectly fine and figure out if the item is in stock and figure out what price it should be. But SKUgrid will no longer have a link to your eBay item, so it'll be completely useless just because you clicked save in Excel. Do you guys understand why this is a big deal? None of these items matter anymore. They're no longer unique item links. And you can tell that, the beginning of the number changes. See, sometimes it's 32246. Other times, if we scroll all the way down, 322472. So the first half of the number is okay, but the second half got screwed up. So first, I'm going to show you how you can quickly fix that because of our reference column. So the reference column has some text in front of it, and then the eBay item ID itself. So a really quick way to fix corrupted item IDs over here is to just copy the entire reference column. And there's fancier ways to do this, but I'm not going to do them. We're going to copy the entire reference column, and now we're going to paste it over these Reprice SKUs. So now each of them has this remote import Hydra thing. You're going to select the entire column P, click Control F, and type remote space import space Hydra space. Now click on replace, replace with, leave that blank, and replace all of them. And there you go. We've now fixed the database. It's no longer corrupt. Okay? And we can fix it to show the proper format. As you can see, our eBay item links now work properly again. We can go to eBay and then enter in one of these links, and it's going to work. Look at that, an actual item. The item isn't in stock, but that's okay. It's a real item that's for sale by me, which is good. So that's how to fix it. But how do we stop that error from happening in the first place? And it's actually quite simple. Whenever you're working in Excel, this is unique to Excel. You don't need to worry about this if you're working in Google Sheets. You have to go to File, and then always make sure that instead of clicking Save, you go to Export. Click Change File Type and make sure it says CSV. Click Save As, and then this is going to come up. 1B, we're going to change it to Part 1B Test. And so what this is going to do, I'm going to exit out of this, and then we're going to reopen it. And theoretically, if everything's good, the numbers are going to be in scientific notation, but they won't be zeroed out like they were earlier. And you can see that they're not. They're still in scientific notation, but that's just because Excel shows us the data that way. The number itself is still intact. So always make sure when you're using Excel, click Export, change file type, and then Save As. Do not click Save As up here. I know it's confusing because it's a Save As button here and a Save As button here, but if you click this, even though we have CSV selected, it's going to corrupt your data. You really want to make sure that that doesn't happen, okay? So that being said, now I'm going to show you how to go about uploading items to SKUgrid, because that's another area where a lot of stuff can go wrong. So I've established that I can't use a big file. This is kind of irritating because I need to upload 80,000 items to my SKUgrid. So, okay, we determined I have to use 2,500 items at a time. All right, that's 32 files. If I just did this the basic way, I would go into my SKUgrid, I would click Import, Export, I would click Import here, choose CSV file, and then I would pick the part of the file that I need. It would then take about 2 to 3 hours to update everything. At which point, once I went to the bottom and I could see that all of the items I added were uploaded, then I would upload the next part of the file. Think about this, guys. We have 32 files to upload and 2 to 3 hours of waiting per file. That is insane and incredibly frustrating. And also, when you do it that way, there's this thing that can go wrong. So if you've ever used SKUgrid and you've left the file open, you've probably noticed that you'll get a timeout message. And the timeout message will say you've been inactive for 30 minutes, and it'll give you 2 buttons that you can click. You can click Continue, or you can click Log Out. Always, always click Log Out if you're importing a file. The reason you should never click Continue is because if you click Continue, it's going to re-upload the file that you uploaded in the first place and make duplicates of everything. So always make sure that you exit out of SKUgrid. All right? As long as you never click Continue when it gives you that timeout method, and as long as you make sure that you're not corrupting your database by using Excel, things are going to be okay. And I'm going to show you next how to get over the whole I can only upload one file at a time and it can only be 2,500 items because I need to upload 80,000 items and I don't want to spend 4 days doing that. The way that you can work around that is by using different internet browsers and using their associated incognito modes. So I'm going to show you how to do this really quick. I have 6 more files to upload. If you can see at the bottom here, I have about 66,000 items, and my actual full database is 80,000 items. So I'm missing roughly 14,000 items. Those 14,000 items can be found in 6 files that I still have to upload. So I'm going to show you how I go about uploading them and the things that can go wrong and the things to look out for while you're uploading. Okay? So first what we're going to do is we're going to open 6 new instances of SKUgrid that have separate cookies. This is why you have to use different internet browsers and incognito modes, because if you don't do this, it's going to mess things up and you're not going to even be able to load SKUgrid in the first place. So here we go. We're going to SKUgrid web, and it should give me the login page in a second, or not. All right, meanwhile, we're going to open up our other internet. Oh, here we go. Sweet. So we're going to log into my SKUgrid account. And while it's loading, I'm going to open the other 6 tabs. So right now, we have 1 incognito tab for Chrome and 1 regular tab for Chrome. Next, I'm going to open a Internet Explorer browser and do the same thing. We're going to go to SKUgrid login, and then we're going to open an in private window, which is Internet Explorer's version of incognito. Here we go. And so we're going to go to the same address, and then we're going to log in. I need to log in. Okay, we've logged in on that page. This is going to be a bit confusing because I'm using a lot of windows, guys. Don't worry about it. You just need to know that I'm opening one Google Chrome window with SKUgrid, one incognito, one Internet Explorer, one Internet Explorer incognito, one Opera, and one Opera incognito. So I'm using different internet browsers to all open up one view of SKUgrid, right? So let's log in. Here we go. And the reason I'm doing this is so that I can upload more than one file at a time, because this is going to make it much, much faster and actually make it doable instead of taking multiple days to do. So we have we just need our Opera browsers now, because I need 6 different browsers looking at SKUgrid. So here's our Opera browser. And now we're going to open our incognito Opera browser. Go to the same website. And I've got to wait for all of these SKUgrid instances to load up. So that might take a minute, but it's going to be okay. I know you guys will appreciate this video. It should kind of alleviate a lot of your concerns about SKUgrid if you take the time to actually watch the whole thing. Okay, so that's good. Do I need to log into any of the other ones? Yeah, I need to log into... Okay, that one's good. And what about you? Are you good? You don't even look like you're loading anything, buddy. You gotta be at the home page. All right, that one's good. This one is not loading. Come on. Here we go. Lime literate. And why are you being weird? This is the last one. I need to get it to work. I apologize, guys. I know this is confusing. It's going to be worth it, though, I promise. Because this is the last thing we need to take care of, really, is understanding how to upload multiple files to SKUgrid in a way that it's not going to screw up, right? Here we go. Awesome. So now I go to my items. And then that should be everything, I think, right? So we have 6 instances of SKUgrid that have loaded. And we should be good as soon as this one loads. All right. So it's processing, but oh, that one's processing too. We got to wait for all of them to show. Why are they all processing? We got to wait for them to actually be showing items like this. Perfect. And then once it shows an item, then we should be set. I'm going to full screen all these windows just so I don't get confused later on. Oh, shit. All right. Why are you guys not all full screen? That's confusing me. All right, sweet. So now at this point, we have 6 windows open. You guys see that they're in different internet browsers, and I have 2 with each internet browser, 1 in the regular internet browser, and 1 using the internet browser's incognito mode. The reason I use their incognito mode is because cookies and login information is all stored separately when you're using an incognito window. So it's really useful when you don't want to save your information or when you don't want to log into an existing occurrence that's already being used, right? So now what we're going to do is we're going to import all of our files. So one by one, we're going to click on Import, Import CSV, and then choose CSV file. I've already done most of my database, so I'm going to start at 7C. So here, in which one? I need to make sure I don't lose track of this. Here in the first Google Chrome window, we've uploaded 7C. So now I'm going to go into the incognito Google Chrome window and upload file 7D, okay? So import CSV, choose CSV file, scroll down, and 7D. Here we go. So I want you guys to pay attention to something really quick. Right now, we can see that it says waiting for SKUgrid.com. As soon as we click upload, look in the bottom left right here, okay? We open the file. You see that? It said, oh, you missed it. Sorry, that one went by really slowly, or really quickly. You'll see that as soon as you upload the file, it goes uploading 10%, uploading 20%, 50, and it gets to 100. Theoretically, as soon as it goes from uploading to waiting for SKUgrid.com, you could actually get rid of this window. I'm not sure how long it needs to take before SKUgrid has really received the file, but I'm pretty confident that as soon as that uploaded part is complete, you can exit the window. That being said, I'm going to leave each window open for a couple minutes just in case, but we're going to move forward. So we've now done it in both of the Google Chrome tabs. So now we need to keep moving forward, and we're using the Opera tab. So we're going to import file 8A. That's this one here. All right. Fantastic. And now we're going to go to the in private Opera tab, which is this one. And we're going to import CSV, choose CSV file. And now we're going to pick file 8B. Now we've done the Opera tabs, Google Chrome tabs, so we need to do our Microsoft Edge tabs. I keep calling this Internet Explorer. I forget that it's actually not Internet Explorer. It's Edge, even though they use an E still. So we go to import CSV, and at this point we need to import file 8C. And remember, each of these files has 2,500 items in it. So 8C, and now we need to go to our regular Microsoft Edge. Here we go. Go to import CSV, choose CSV file, and now we're going to pick our last file. All right, file 8D. Awesome. So now you understand we can upload multiple files to SKUgrid as long as we're using a different internet browser or an incognito version of the same internet browser. And so the reason we have to do this is because now that we're doing something with SKUgrid, if we try and open SKUgrid in the same internet browser, like let's use Google Chrome as an example, right? Here we go. Wait, 0 items were imported. That's not good. Why is it saying that? I'm not sure why it said that. It didn't say that with the other ones, right? Oh no! Why is it doing that? Come on, SKUgrid. I thought I'd finally figured you out. What are you doing to me? What are you doing, SKUgrid? Why? Why did that happen? Just when it's so hard to make videos about this software because I think I understand why something happens and then I don't get it. I'm not sure why it said 0 items were imported. So the other two seem to be going through fine. So I'm not going to worry about that for now. We're just going to keep on going, and then I'm going to look through this video and then properly import the ones it missed because I don't remember which part of the file it was. But anyway, my point was that if we now try and go to SKUgrid, because we've given it something to do, and we try and look at our database, it's going to lag a lot. See, it's not even loading the main website. We can see that it's trying to, waiting for SKUgrid.com. It's at the bottom there, but it's not loading. And that's because we're in the same instance of the web browser that is currently interacting with SKUgrid. So you can work around that by viewing SKUgrid in a different web browser, right? So since I currently have stuff going on in every web browser except Firefox, I'm going to show you something to explain this point. We're going to open up Firefox, and then we're going to go to SKUgrid. And now what I should be able to do is log into SKUgrid and then scroll down to the bottom and show you guys that the number of items in my database is slowly going up. I will have to go through and figure out what was happening with Google Chrome. I'm not sure why it didn't work in Google Chrome, but it worked in the 2 other internet browsers. You see, we still don't have any error messages in these 2. But we got to wait for Firefox to log in. And then once it does, we got to wait for it to load. There's a whole lot of waiting with SKUgrid. I try and interact with the website itself as infrequently as possible. But I think that's about all I'm going to show you guys. I talked to you guys about how to upload files, about how Excel can screw everything up. And I thought I had that system down. This worked perfectly up until this point. I don't know why it didn't work with Google Chrome. But yeah, here's my video on SKUgrid. All right, guys. Ciao.